This is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. I'm Tim McMaster, stepping into the cage today from San Francisco and AT&T Park. We're joined by Ty Blach. Ty, thanks so much for taking some time.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
All right, fans, you know how this works. You can use the hashtag Chatting Cage on Twitter. You use the MLB Fans app as well, or get on your webcam, get on your phone, and ask your own questions for Ty. We're actually going to start on social media, though. And Ty, NMO 2004 wants to know, what's your favorite pitch to throw, and why is that?
My favorite pitch is whatever gets that hitter out. Doesn't matter what it is, where it is, what count it is, just however I can get him out.
Absolutely, and I think that's a good approach. Never fall in love with one pitch more than another. Just go to the one that's working for you. Absolutely. The cool thing about the Edward Jones Chatting Cage is we are joined by fans, and we have one ready to go right now. Tell us your name, where you're from, and ask your question for Ty.
Hi, Ty. My name is Nick from New York, and my question for you is, when you were growing up as a kid, what was your favorite team?
When I was growing up, Nick, my favorite team was the Rockies. I grew up in Denver, so I grew up going to a lot of Rockies games.
What was it about those Rockies teams when you were growing up that you really liked?
You got to remember the Blake Street Bombers. You know, Andres Galarraga, Dante Bichette. You know, you had Todd Helton, Larry Walker, Ellis Burks. A lot of great hitters there. So that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, and that's really, I think that city fell in love with those teams pretty quickly because of all those guys. Back to social we go, and Dave the Brave wants to know, what are your thoughts on the new season of Game of Thrones? We know you're a big fan.
Yeah, the new season's been awesome. I'm actually a really big fan of the books, so it's different to be able to see the show first, and the books haven't gotten this far. So just seeing what the show's unraveling is pretty cool.
And I know you've been on Lexi Pence's show along with Hunter Pence. We have that here on MLB.com as well, so fans can check that out as you guys kind of review the last edition of the series. I think week 4 coming up here later this week on MLB.com. We have another fan ready to go now. Tell us your name, where you're from. Go ahead with your question for Ty.
I'm Mauricio Palmer from Maryland, and I was just wondering, what were you thinking when you hit your first home run and you were rounding the bases?
Well, I hit it, and it's very hard to hit home runs to center field in AT&T Park, so I wasn't sure if I actually hit a homer or not. So I was running hard, just hoping that it maybe clear the wall.
Great stuff. We have one more Game of Thrones question for you before we move on to more baseball stuff, Ty, and that is, how do you think the series will end? Who's going to end up on the Iron Throne when it's all said and done?
That's a question that nobody knows the answer to. It'll be a lot of fun seeing how it plays out. Obviously, you hope that some of the good guys win, but this show, you never know. Seems like sometimes the bad guys come out on top, so we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, and hopefully enough of the characters actually survive to make it to the end of the series. All right, we'll stick with social now, and Yo Zero wants to know, any advice for young pitchers on how to stay focused on the mound if you're getting rattled a little bit?
I think the biggest thing is staying focused on the things you can control, and that's your attitude and your effort. So the biggest thing is focusing on the next pitch. That's the only thing in your control as a pitcher, so it doesn't matter what's happened before, what's happened, the situations going on the bases, anything like that. You just got to go out and make the next pitch, so that's all you can do.
And I'm sensing a theme here. Make the next pitch, and your favorite pitch is the one that gets the hitter out. It's a very good focus on just one pitch at a time for sure. We have another fan ready to go here. Go ahead, tell us your name, where you're from, and ask your question.
Hi, my name is Sal Kurtz from New York. I'm a Cleveland Indians fan, and my question is, who was your idol growing up?
Andres Galarraga was probably my idol growing up. I loved him as a kid. I remember when I was probably like 4 or 5, I went to spring training in Arizona, and I got to eat breakfast with him. I saw him at the hotel, and that was really cool for me to be able to sit down and share that experience with him.
Now time for our EDJ question of the day, Ty, and it is, looking back on hitting your first big league home run last week, how does that moment rank among all the things you've accomplished in your young career, of course, most of them on the mound?
That was pretty cool. It was just a special moment. It's one of those things as a pitcher, you don't know if you're ever going to hit a home run in the big leagues. So that was pretty cool for me. especially growing up in Colorado where the long ball is king. So that was a special moment.
And you have Madison Bumgarner on your team. Does he give you guys any tips on how to go deep as a pitcher?
Well, he tries to, that's for sure. Every day in batting practice, he's putting on a show. You watch him hit balls 450 feet, hit them up on the concourse here at AT&T Park. It's pretty funny. So just being able to see him at work every day is pretty cool.
Yeah, he's been unbelievable. Obviously, a 2-homer game earlier this season before he got injured. Sticking to social here, and Baseball Addict wants to know, if you weren't a pitcher, Ty, what position would you prefer to play?
I'd probably play outfield. I love running around, shagging fly balls out there. It's fun just to be able to get reads off the bat, throwing guys out. That was always fun for me when I was in high school, so I think I'd like that.
All right, and staying on the social path to Twitter we go. You've had a really nice stretch of starts over your last 5-6 outings. Fan wants to know, have there been adjustments that you've made here this season as it's gone along?
Yeah, it's just trying to stay focused and stay committed to the process. Every week you're trying to get better. You're trying to study their lineups, trying to exploit their weaknesses. So whatever you can do to consistently go out there and repeat your mechanics and make pitches, been able to do that. I've had a lot of great help from Dave Righetti and Mark Gardner, our pitching coaches. And when you got guys like Buster Posey and Nick Hundley behind the plate, it makes it pretty easy to go out there and call a game.
Yeah, certainly having guys like that and Buster Posey, to just listen to what the fingers they throw down there and you're ready to go. This is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. We're joined by Ty Blach, and now we're joined by another fan. Go ahead, tell us your name, where you're from, and go ahead with your question.
My name is Jack from Kansas City, Missouri. Have you ever faced a hitter that you admired growing up? And if so, what were your thoughts when you did?
Yeah, I grew up a big Rockies fan, so my first outing was at Coors Field against the Rockies, and Carlos Gonzalez came up, and I grew up watching him, and he actually got a double off me. It was the first hit I gave up in the big leagues. So facing guys like that, that's pretty incredible, knowing that you're right there with those guys that you grew up idolizing.
Now, when you give up a hit to a guy like that, what's the feeling? Is it, well, I idolized him, so obviously he's going to get a hit off of me, or were you frustrated with yourself?
Well, it was my first one, so I knew it was going to happen to somebody. So for it to be against him, I guess I could understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. Sticking with social media, and next question is, who's been the most instrumental person in helping you find your footing once you've gotten to the big leagues?
Oh, there's been so many people. I can't point my finger to just one, but you look at our coaching staff, Boach, Dave Righetti, Mark Gardner. They've been incredible for me. You look at our rotation guys. We got Matt Cain, Jeff Samardzija, Madison Bumgarner, Johnny Cueto, Matt Moore. All these guys have so much experience, so just be able to learn from them. Last year when I got called up, Javi Lopez was a really great influence. So there's been a lot of guys that have been really helpful for me to get to where I am today.
Yeah, it's got to be incredible to be part of an organization like the Giants, where the manager's been there so long, the pitching coach has been there so long, so many veteran guys on the team as well. It's got to help things along a little bit. We have another fan ready to go here, Ty. Go ahead, tell us your name, where you're from, and go ahead with your question.
Hey, I'm Andrew from New York. Ty, I was wondering who's the most interesting Giant in the Giants clubhouse?
You cut out there. Can you repeat that question again?
Yeah, he wants to know who's the most interesting guy in the clubhouse.
The most interesting guy. Well, there's a lot of really good characters in the clubhouse. Brandon Crawford's kind of low-key, funny guy. He's pretty witty. Sam Dyson's been a character to have now that he's with us, and everybody loves Johnny Cueto. Man, his antics, they're pretty awesome. So having those guys in the locker room, there's a lot of happiness, a lot of laughing, and a lot of telling jokes.
All right, back to social media we go, and Giants fan 23 wants to know, you threw just 17 innings for the Giants last season, but this year obviously you've been up a lot longer. What's the difference been like for you, Ty, this year having so many starts and appearances as opposed to the small amount you got a year ago?
Last year was great for me to kind of be able to get my feet wet and have a building block for this year. Being able to pitch in September, pitch in the postseason, some big moments that really gave me the confidence going into spring training that I could go out there and make pitches and get guys out in the big leagues. So took that approach coming in, and it's been a lot of fun this year being able to learn from the guys and go out and compete every fifth day.
Great stuff. This is the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. We're joined this week by Ty Blach, and we have another fan ready to go. Feel free to get in line, still have some time. Get your own questions in. We have a fan joining us now. Go ahead, tell us your name, where you're from, and ask your question for Ty.
Hey, Ty, I'm Alex. I'm from Boston. And my question was, it's been a tough year for you guys in San Francisco, but the core really for me, the last 3 championships since 2010 is pretty much the same. How confident are you guys that you can bounce back next year?
Yeah, I think the guys are definitely confident that we can do that. We got off to a rough start. We had some injuries, had some breaks that didn't go our way, and it's tough sometimes. This game is a momentum game, and we just couldn't get much rolling our way early on. But we're starting to play a little better here the last couple of days, and we're going to try to finish strong here this year and give ourselves a good chance to build into next year.
All right, back to social we go. Bob by the Bay wants to know, obviously San Francisco, a city known for its great food. Do you have a favorite restaurant by the Bay so far?
I haven't gotten out a whole lot, but I've eaten at a couple of spots in the Ferry Building that I really like. There's an oyster place in there. I think it's called Rock Island Oyster Company. That was really good. And the Slanted Door. I've eaten at both of those. And I've also eaten at Epic Steakhouse. Epic Steakhouse is tremendous. So those are some of the ones that I've really enjoyed here in San Francisco. Yeah,
so many options there. Something to look forward to maybe for the off season. You guys are so busy during the season. We have one more fan getting ready to join us now on the Edward Jones Chatting Cage. Go ahead, tell us your name, where you're from, and ask your question for Ty.
I'm Joey McLaughlin. I'm from New York, and my question is, what's the hardest hitter you've ever faced?
Oh, that's a good question. There's a lot of guys. There's so many good players in the league right now. Guys who go out there every day to compete and try to beat you. You look at some of the guys that I was facing, against the Dodgers. Their lineups are a really good lineup. Justin Turner, he's been really good. Cody Bellinger's having a really good year for them. Corey Seager's an incredible young hitter. So that whole core, Adrian Gonzalez, when he's healthy, there's some tough hitters in that lineup.
Yeah, that whole division loaded with talented lineups for sure. Well, Ty, we're out of time. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Edward Jones Chatting Cage.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
All right, that'll do it for another edition. Make sure you tune in again next time.